Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody has had a great Monday so far. I know I mentioned earlier in the week that I was going to be talking about the AP poll coming up sometime this week. And honestly, I was going to wait until tomorrow to talk about it, but I figured I would go ahead and discuss it because the AP poll is always a hot topic. There's always fans saying this team's too high. There's always fans saying this team's too low. This team doesn't get enough respect. This team gets too much respect. And we don't have many more weeks of the AP poll being relevant because remember that the week of Halloween, our first playoff poll comes out. And once the playoff poll comes out, then the AP poll pretty much is useless. And Halloween is only a couple of weeks away, so not many more weeks left to look at the AP poll and get mad about a team being too high or a team being too low. It's funny how we as fans get so upset about everybody. And if anybody on any network says anything bad about our team, then that channel or that broadcaster just hates us. I remember just last week after Clemson played NC State, there was a lot of Clemson fans in the upstate of South Carolina upset about what Kirk Herbstreit said during the broadcast. And I watched the game and I personally heard what Kirk Herbstreit said, and I didn't think he was out of line. I thought he was right. He didn't say it in a malicious way. He didn't say it in a harmful way. He didn't say it in a mean way. But so many people think that just because Kirk Herbstreit has a son that plays for Clemson, he can't say anything bad about Clemson. But the only part about that is Kirk Herbstreit's bills don't get paid by Clemson. He can have an honest opinion. Just because a person, whoever the person is, has a son that plays for a certain school does not mean that person can't say anything bad about a school. He was giving an opinion, and I personally thought he was right. As a Clemson fan, I wasn't offended by it. It didn't bother me whatsoever. But it never ceases to amaze me how so many people watch these networks or listen to these certain shows or read these certain magazines, and if anybody says anything bad about our team, oh, they hate us. Is it okay for people to just have an opinion? Can you not just have an opinion? But anyway, on to the poll. And of course, as always, there is a lot of controversy in the poll. So I'm going to give you the top 25, and then I'll give you my top 10 and how I would vote the top 10 if I had a vote in the AP poll. Just last week, I was talking to somebody at work who was all upset about Alabama going back to number one after last weekend's games. And I said, why are we continuously, year after year, week after week, surprised when Alabama goes to number one? We know that everybody loves Alabama. And as long as Nick Saban's their coach, they're going to be everybody's poster child. And anytime anybody around them struggles in any kind of way, it just gives all the voters a reason to put Bama number one. And Georgia has struggled the last 2 weeks, so that gives them a reason to put Bama at number one. It never ceases to amaze me how people continuously act like they're shocked about Bama getting favoritism. There's one team in every sport, whether it's collegiate wise or pro wise, that always gets showed favoritism. And in college football, it's Alabama. So I'm not surprised by it, but everybody else acts like they're so surprised all the time, anytime that happens. The good news is, when the new poll came out yesterday, they're no longer number one. Georgia is back to number one. Ohio State, number two. Alabama is third. Clemson is fourth. And Michigan is fifth. So Georgia goes back to one. Ohio State and Bama swap. Bama falls to three. And then Clemson and Michigan switch. Clemson goes to four. And Michigan falls to five. Then they've got Tennessee, sixth. LSU, seventh. I'm sorry, not LSU. USC, seventh. Oklahoma State, eighth. Ole Miss, ninth. And Penn State rounds out the top 10. Then we've got UCLA, number 11. Oregon, 12. TCU, 13. Wake Forest, 14. And NC State is 15. And then 16 through 20 is Mississippi State, Kansas State, Syracuse, Kansas, and Utah. So Utah is the first two-loss team ranked right now. Then we have Cincinnati, 21st, Kentucky, 22nd, Texas, 23rd, Illinois, 24th, and James Madison cracks the FBS poll for the first time, coming in at number 25. There is another YouTuber, and for those of you that watch him, you know who I'm talking about. But those of you that don't, he is very, very big on YouTube, and he's very, very, very knowledgeable. And he posts college football videos every day, all year long, even in the off season. He usually posts 2 or 3 videos every single day. So for all of you college football lovers and college football fans, you should go subscribe to his channel and watch his stuff. He does college football year-round. I bring him up because he actually, Saturday night into Sunday morning, posted his top 25 as of right now. And he is not a Clemson fan. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, he is not a Clemson fan. But he actually has Clemson number 1 in his poll. And I bring that up because everybody that watches the channel knows that I'm a Clemson fan, but I don't show favoritism, and he is the same way. He doesn't show favoritism. He just gives you honest opinion. He's got Clemson number 1 in his poll right now, and Georgia at number 2. And I can tell you the reason why he's got Clemson at number 1. It's because of this stat that I'm fixing to give you. The AP top 15 right now has a combined record of 83 wins and 3 losses. And 2 of the 3 losses came to Clemson. Because of the top 15 teams right now, the only 3 that have a loss is Oregon, Wake Forest, and NC State. And of course, Wake Forest, NC State both lost to Clemson. So Clemson is the only team in the country that has 2 wins over top 15 teams. So I can see why he has them number 1. But in my top 10 right now, I don't have them number 1. Even though it is factual that they're the only team in the country that has 2 wins over top 15 teams, that is a fact. But still, even though that fact does help, I look at it as, if these teams played right now, who do I think would win? And that's how I rank my teams. Yes, it does help to have those wins over ranked teams, and it does help that Clemson is the only team in America that has 2 wins over top 15 teams. But I still think if Clemson played Ohio State right now on a neutral field, I think Ohio State would win. So as of right now, Ohio State to me is the best team in the country. I've got Georgia number 2, Clemson number 3, Alabama 4, and USC 5. And then I've got Michigan at number 6, Tennessee at 7, Oklahoma State 8, Penn State 9, and Ole Miss 10. So pretty much the same 10 teams the AP poll has, just in a different order, all except for Oklahoma State. They're 8th in my poll and 8th in the AP poll. But I just think Ohio State right now, if they played any team in America, no matter how good they are, on a neutral site, I think Ohio State would win. And the reason why I say a neutral site is because, of course, if you play at home, you had the advantage. If you play at their place, they had the advantage. But if they played any other team in the country at a neutral site, and I mean a neutral site, not one of these things where two teams play 5 minutes up the road, but it's neutral site. I mean actually a neutral site, not in Cincinnati, but a neutral site. I think Ohio State would win, so they are the best team in the country right now, in my opinion. But fans always cease to amaze me. The first 3 weeks of the season, every Georgia fan I know personally was complaining about how easy their schedule is, saying, man, I waited all this time to watch Georgia football, and now it's not worth watching because they're blowing everybody out. And I kept telling them, well, they can't help their schedule. You can't help that the teams you play are not any good. But you won't really know anything about Georgia as far as how good they are until they play Tennessee or until they play Mississippi State. But both of those games don't come up till November. So until then, you're not going to know. And then all of a sudden, Georgia has back-to-back weeks where they struggle. And then it's, man, why are we struggling? Man, this is pitiful. So you complain when it's a close game, and you complain when it's a blowout. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, but it's just how we are as fans. We want everything to go our way all the time, but I still think Georgia is number 2. I just think Ohio State is a little bit better. But any thoughts on the AP poll or my top 10, please feel free to let me know. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.